Hi creative friends, this is Soraya and thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited to do this video today. It is about mail art. Now, I am not an expert in this. There are actually whole communities and clubs and entire groups of people that all they do is mail art. Like they send it to each other. There are challenges, and I have never really used mail art in that way, but the sky is the limit. Now, I have generally only used it for two specific purposes, and I'll talk about how I work and what I do. So the very first thing is, my number one concern is going to be that I want my package to arrive there safely. Like, I don't want the package to fall apart. I don't want, it to get damaged, etc., etc. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, what am I mailing and what is the best way for me to get that off? So, just say I was going to send in a journal like this, to say a magazine for an art submission. So yeah, that would be perfect. That would fit perfectly because, I would wrap it up with tissue paper. I would put my cover letter in there. And I think that this would be a perfect size for this type of envelope. Now, just say that I was going to send, I'm just pulling stuff within arm's length. Just say I was going to send a book that was this size to a magazine. And this is just my dictionary, by the way, that I use for collage. But just say I had a piece of art or an art journal that was this size. I would not put it in this envelope, even if it could very tightly fit. It just would not be a good idea. Like, because I'm gonna, I wanted to have some room. I wanted to get there safely is my point. I don't want this whole envelope to fall apart and then, blah, blah, blah. So that is my main consideration. So then I choose what particular, form of like the package that I am going to send off. So this here would obviously be like a smaller, piece of art that would fit in here. A long time ago, I had an Etsy shop and I sold prints. So I had like, a whole bunch of envelopes, and this was perfect for my prints. They were matted and I would put them in a plastic bag and then I would put them in here. And this is a very sturdy, but like it's flat. But it's a very sturdy, and it's got like a little, little thing that I can pull and stick it. And I have these stickers, do not bend, etc., etc. And now this is not very elaborate, but I had a whole bunch of envelopes, so this is perfect. It's just, a block of color. It didn't take me a lot of time to do it. And if you're doing like, 30 or 40 envelopes, then yeah, I don't want to do something really elaborate. Now, this box over here, when I did my video on, how to increase your chances of getting your art published in a magazine, I showed you this box. And now this is a fairly large box, but it is going to be perfect for the piece of art that I am going to be sending in. It's for a magazine submission. And this may look like really kind of complicated, but it's really not. I actually enjoy doing mail art. I just love it. It just makes me so happy. And, I leave a little piece over here because I'm going to put my return address. I put the, to, and then the to address here. And I have to leave a little bit of space for the post office and all the stuff that they have to do. And I'm just going to move this off here. And what I'm going to do for this video is I am actually going to work on this box right here. So basically what I did is I am recycling this box. So I pulled out all of the, I guess it was like tape, like clear plastic tape. So I pulled everything off because I want this like kind of, surface like this. Now, when I do my mail art, I generally don't use high quality art supplies. I use like my cheapy paints because I don't want to like, our paints are really expensive. And so I don't want to use my super expensive stuff on my mail art. like even over here, like this is just like, you know, leftover scrapbook paper. And yeah, like all this is cheap paint. Now I might have used my Liquitex ink for the skin tone, but I generally tend to use my cheaper kind of art supplies. So the first thing I want to do is I want to just prep it. So I'm just gonna put like these pages on here. And another thing I do is I pick, like when it's all, you know, when I'm done the front of the box, what I do is I paint the sides. I just pick one color of my cheap paint and I just paint the sides a solid color. And then I leave the back kind of just, you know, just plain, I guess. And I tend to really like to recycle my boxes. So if it fits what I want to do, like if it fits my, say, piece of art that I'm sending, then I am going to recycle a box. And so basically I kind of sort of treat this as like an art journal page, but it's just a little bit more, I guess, simplified. I don't know if that's the right word. It's not, you know, it's just like I want the person who receives the package, I want them to get an idea of what's inside the box. But it doesn't have to be like too complicated. And, you know, I have to leave like pieces blank for the post office to put their stuff on there. But and, you know, talking about these different art groups that they do mail art and they send like these gorgeous, delicious pages and envelopes and pieces of art to each other. You know, you can use like smaller envelopes. You can actually make an envelope. I mean, there are standards that you have to follow for mail. Like, you know, the post office has like certain standards, but I think you can make your own envelopes as long as you follow those standards. And I'm just gonna kind of put it like so. And like I said, you guys, it does not have to be complicated at all. And there we go. And actually, I have had a lot of my mail art, when I send it into a magazine, like they actually take a photograph of it and they actually publish the mail art as well, which is like, I didn't, you know, when I first did it, like that's not like, I didn't expect that. That's not the reason why I did it, but that's just like an added kind of bonus, I guess, that they will publish your mail art as well. And I've seen some really beautiful stuff being published. So I really love doing this, you guys. I know I said that at the beginning of the video, but it just makes me so happy. And I set my intention and I do all of that stuff. And it just makes me incredibly grateful and happy to be able to do this. I don't know what it is, but I just love it. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to see, I'm going to kind of follow this. Not exactly, but I have to put like a little part. Now that's going to be like my from, you know, I'm going to put my from, my name and my address. And I, you know, try to use a Sharpie. I didn't use a Sharpie there, but just because I want it to be waterproof. But anyways, so that's gonna be like my name tag, and then I'm gonna leave this space kind of free over here because, you know, the post office has to put all their stuff on there. And I think I want a moon for this one. I want a moon here. So I do want a little moon. Now I don't have a lot of space to work with, so I can't make things like super big, but I do want a lady, of course. I want a lady right there. And okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave this part here for the magazine address, and I don't know if that's actually big enough, so I might have to kind of move it like so. So this is going to be the part where I put the magazine address, and then this is my address, and all of this is going to be plain. So do you see how it's like it's kind of like a simplified version? I don't do a lot of layers or anything like that, because I mean, you know, there's no point in doing like really intricate stuff. I mean, if you want to do it, obviously, you know, but I don't usually do that. So now I'm just going to pick out my colors here, and I think the colors I want are going to be, I have some reds here. I have a blue, and I have a yellow. Now these are all my cheapy paints because, like I said, I don't want to use my expensive paints. I think I'm gonna go for a red. Now there are things I do keep in mind, like for instance, I'm not gonna go with a super dark color for the addresses because I want the address to show up. So do you see what I'm saying? How like you have to kind of keep these things in consideration. Like you wouldn't want to put like you know, a really super dark color there or there, and then when you write your address, unless you have a label. If you have a label, then that's fine, but if you don't have a label, you don't want to do that. So I just lightened that up so it's more of a pink. And that's perfect for showing my address. And I think I'm gonna go for a light yellow with the dress here. Well, because of the blue Stabilo, it might just kind of turn a little bit green, but that's okay. And even if I do add a little bit of, say, paper, I generally don't use my handmade paper. So see how I put that crown there? So generally I'm not going to use like my really expensive handmade paper. I'm just going to use like, say, junk mail or dictionary pages, or say leftover, like, you know, I have like scrapbooking paper that's left over from a project. And honestly, you guys, this really does not take a long time at all. I might have to let things dry, but, and see how this is not really in proportion, but I want to have a big space here to put the address of, you know, where I'm sending this to. So and I think I want the background to be blue because I want that like to be a moon, I think. And I'm just working really fast. Like I'm not even, you know, I'm not like fussing about things and any of that stuff. Because like honestly, you guys, there, you know, if like I'm sending it to a magazine, so they're going to open it and, you know, then they're going to generally it gets thrown away, I think, I do believe. So I'm not like totally like obsessing about stuff. I mean, I want it to look pretty and I want it to be representative of my art, but I'm just working really fast. And do you see how this really does not take a long time? It does not have to be anything major. And basically what I do, you guys, and I'm going to put a link to the video I did about, you know, how to increase your chances of getting published in a magazine. I'll put the link to that video in this, in the description below. But basically what I do is I, like I mentioned this in my video, I tend to go with a very business approach. So obviously this is all artistic. It's, you know, it's artsy fartsy. That's what I want it to be. But the stuff I put inside is, I tend to go very professional, very traditionally professional, but you know, you can like modify that depending on how you want to approach it. But that's just what I do. So I have a cover letter, and I just say, you know, I'm submitting this for your consideration. And what I tend to do is I have a very clear idea of what I want, like what my art is about, whatever I'm submitting, like the story that goes along with it. Now, I don't talk too much about that, but I do address it in the cover letter. So I'll say, you know, this, I'd like to submit my, I'm going to use an example. I'd like to submit this art journal for your consideration. This art journal is about, you know, XYZ and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, if you want to share a particular technique or if you want to share a particular story or whatever, like I would just include a sentence or two in the cover letter. Put all your contact information, you know, just a regular cover letter. So see, I am going to use some of this Liquitex ink here because, I mean, I want that for my skin tone. Okay, you guys, so I'm going to let this dry, and basically all I'm going to come back and do is I'm just going to put in some facial features. I'm going to, you know, put another coat of the blue, and basically I might get out my, I'm just going to move this off to the side here. I'm going to get out my marker, and I am going to, you know, just kind of make some outlines, etc., etc., and you know, just like I did here. This really did not take me a lot of time at all. It really did not. So it doesn't, and see what I mean about how I painted the sides. It's just a plain color of a cheap paint that I had. And then I leave the back completely. I don't do anything to the back. And obviously there are no sides to this. So it's just the front. And I just covered my address here with this painter's tape just because I'm making this video. But anyways, you guys, the sky is the limit, and depending on like what exactly you're doing with the mail art, I would take that as my consideration first and foremost, along with the safety of ensuring that the contents are safe getting to where it's going. But anyways, you guys, if you have any questions or comments, I really appreciate listening to them, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.